Drummers Against Implied Timekeeping. This video is called Why Was or Is Ringo Great? Now, Ringo being the drummer, Richard Starkey of the band The Beatles. I thought it was really interesting. Many years ago, there was an actual site dedicated to Ringo. I don't remember it, but maybe even 15 years ago, discussing Ringo's attributes and what he did for the Beatles, their sound, and how he was as a drummer. Now, many years ago, you're talking over 50 years ago, when the Beatles hit, Ringo was just considered, a fantastic drummer of his time, even in the local area in the Liverpool scene in England. Now, when the Beatles hit big, then as he became worldwide and famous, a lot of drummers started to compare him to the jazz drummers of the era, and then mockery took place. They started making fun of Ringo as a drummer as the modern drum set started to evolve. And I wanted to chime in a little bit my view of this. As always, this is a disclaimer. This is my opinion of it and my opinion only, so please bear with me. I don't want to get into an argument. What I want to do is give you insights. Especially younger drummers and moderate drummers, and even some of the old-timers that are of high level. Why is Ringo great? And you need to know why. That's something that I'm very strongly advocate. When a drummer needs to know what you think and why you think it. That's the key. Where I'm coming from, other than just the opinion. Opinions are formed over a span of time. And I want to kind of give you that idea of what we're thinking and what it means. Now, Ringo, from this website that I can't think of the name, it may not even be there anymore, was going on about in the early days when the Beatles started recording all their hits. Ringo used to do 10, 20, 30, 50 takes of a song because of the way the recording techniques were at the time. Imagine 40, 50 takes of playing Twist and Shout, or rock and roll music, and some of these early hits that they had, which were covers of other bands. And Ringo just kind of laid it out every single time. George Martin did remark that his time was very good. He could record 10, 20, 30 times, as I say, and it would be consistent. And for that time, it was very important because the drummer, besides giving a backbeat, had to have some flash, and Ringo did for his time. So Ringo, in my view, is great. Absolutely fantastic drummer. And why is he fantastic? Two cuts I want any drummer to either listen to and really go over. One is his beat that he actually plays in I Feel Fine, 1965 hit. Ringo is a left-handed guy who played a right-handed drum set. And the way he plays I Feel Fine, and you can see it live on some Beatle tracks when you're on YouTube, you can see it's very creative and interesting. His way of playing I Feel Fine is like no other. And it's really cool. And it's tremendous because the way he plays it in time and context. So I Feel Fine should be listened to. That's why Ringo is great. I'd like to see some other drummer touch that song and play it like that. And the other that always struck me as fantastic is the beginning of Paperback Writer. When they do the opening stanza with the vocal, he comes in on the and then hits 2, and then doesn't come in with the full beat until a bar and a half later. And I want every drummer, no matter what your age, to listen to the beginning of Paperback Writer, because that is extremely great, the way he did that. Da, da. Listen to it closely. Wicked. So those are two cuts that are very important for me to kind of designate Ringo is great, besides the timekeeping being fantastic. And besides being in the Beatles, the pressure to deliver each and every time on Ringo was enormous. In fact, I'll go one step further to say that Ringo was the coolest of the Beatles. And I think Lennon knew that, and that's why he wanted to get him in the band. Pete Best may not have been the best drummer. He was a good drummer, not a great drummer, unfortunately. Ringo was a great player for his time, and he was really cool. And as I said, Lennon could see that. I wanted him in the band immediately. It's quite the most interesting thing. Guitar players know who can really do the job, especially if they're the chief leader of a band. They want a real good player. So hats off to Lennon. If Lennon doesn't know who's a good drummer, where he's coming from, nobody does. All right? So keep this in mind. Again, I want to give just praise to Ringo Starr of the Beatles and why he's great. So the 2 tracks to key in on, very important. I know he has that drum solo on Abbey Road in the end, but for its time, not that much of a big deal. But those tracks, though, the way he plays them, most interesting. All right, so know that. If you have any questions on these things, feel free to ask me. I'm on twitter.com/drummersagainst, facebook.com/drummersagainst implied timekeeping. And for those of you who are coming in for the first time, welcome. Every once in a while I want to give you my idea and opinion regarding historical players and where they fit in context to the time. And of course, Ringo Starr being the most famous, I want you to know. So thank you for looking in, and if you like what you're seeing, I'd like you to subscribe to my channel. Your subscription is your support for what I'm doing and what I'll continue to do in the future. And every once in a while, I just want to chime in historically on drummers and what they're doing and why they're doing it, and to give you an idea of the historical context of these things. And I thank you for that. So for those drummers who are following me, thanks so much. I appreciate that. It means a lot. And I have some technical things coming up which are going to be very challenging for you. But for now, I wanted to just kind of chime in on what I think on this subject, and you can share it with me or with others, and feel free. And if any of you find that site, please remind me of where it is, okay? My best to all of you. Thanks for looking in. This is why Ringo is great.